All right. I'm going to put my 2 cents in here with this whole boycott Bandai Namco thing and all the One Punch Man drama because this is absolutely just fucking retarded and I'm tired of this shit. Okay, so we got Antor here spamming this, by the way. He just keeps posting this all the time. Oh, boycott Bandai Namco. You got to remember, this is the same dick licker that was literally, like, somebody called him out down here too, basically saying that, like, season three's animation is good and people don't know what the fuck they're talking about and they've never seen good animation before. Okay, so like let's just address something real quick. What anime have Bandai Namco published, by the way? Bandai Namco being one of the largest publishers of anime on the planet, by the way. Let's just do a quick Google search, right? It is not possible to provide an exact number of anime Bandai Namco has produced because it has multiple subsidiaries, which it does. It has like Filmworks, it has Pictures. I think Pictures and Filmworks do their own animation because Bandai Namco not only is a publisher, but they're also their own anime studio, which they have done. And they did that, by the way, to pick up shows that were not popular enough to justify being published by anybody, right? You got to remember, and this is what people don't understand, is that nobody in Japan actually wants to fund animation. They don't. It's almost always a loss, right? Uh, Bandai Namco does this for many shows, specifically a show like that's one of my favorite of all time, Gintama, right? Bandai Namco basically funded the entirety of Gintama from start to finish, despite the manga slowly being removed from Shonen Jump, to becoming a monthly, to becoming like a every 3 months. Like the popularity has waned on the franchise drastically, but Bandai Namco still kept sponsoring, still kept funding new seasons of the show, and each season actually increased in animation quality, which is almost unheard of, right? Doesn't really happen too often. Okay, now what has Bandai Namco published, right? Let's just give a few, right? They own the franchise rights to a lot of things like Gundam, Kamen Rider, and Idolmaster. So in the same season that we have One Punch Man season 3, which is published by Bandai Namco, not animated by them, published by them. So they paid the money, right? They agreed, hey, JC staff, we're going to pay you to animate this, right? Like they're the ones funding the project, right? Are also doing the new Kamen Rider at the same time. And if you've seen the new Kamen Rider, it's fucking insane. So you're gonna tell me it's Bankai, it's Bankai Namco's fault, right? Let's just look at some other ones, right? Well, these are just notables, right? Let's see, we got Code Geass, Buddy Complex, Blue Submarine, Cowboy Bebop. By the way, Bandai Namco sponsored and paid for Cowboy Bebop, a show that historically wasn't actually going to get funded. Gintama through its entire run. The movie, which was fantastic. Gundam Build Fighters, the first season, which was fucking awesome, by the way. This was by far like way better than the other seasons. And they specifically sponsored that. They've done all of the Gundam shows, right? They did Kikaishi, that was pretty decent. Seed, Big O, Tales of the Abyss, Tiger and Bunny, Welcome to Demon's Guild Iruma, which is a lot more popular in the East than it is here, but it's still very Patlabor. I mean, these guys have been around forever. These are just some notables. Like, can you expand this list to show 2015, let's say 2016 to 2025 shows they produced? Blow them a little kiss. Because this is so stupid. Everything is JC Staff's fault. It is not Bandai Namco's. Now, I guarantee you, if JC Staff actually had the balls to release, because they keep making excuses. But if JC Staff actually had the balls, which they never do, by the way, they're like one of the only studios that never releases how much money they were given, purposely, by the way, because this studio has the same problem that Toei originally did until recently, where Toei's internal structure was such a fucking chaotic mess because it got too big for its own good that people were just skimming money off of projects. So it's like they had to restructure the whole company. That's why Toei Animation has improved drastically. They restructured the whole company. They set like a global vision for the company, and that's why they've been releasing nothing but bangers for like the last fucking like 4 years. Okay. JC Staff is almost as big as Toei. Not really, but like they're probably like the second or third largest. They've been around forever. They're very large. They're almost too large, right? So the people working on One Punch Man season 3, the staff working on that, are just like a ragtag group thrown together. While they also work on 3 other projects this season. So it's like we have Initial D, we have they did the remake for Galactic Heroes, which some people didn't like, but it's okay. I didn't really like it either because I'm just a purist, but like it wasn't bad. Like it was actually good. They did 91 Days. People really love this show. They did fucking Izata the Last Witch. The show was also really good. Like, guys, it's not Bandai Namco. They did the Violet Evergarden movie, right? Like what are we talking about here? Oh, it's Bandai Namco. They're just evil. They're evil. Yeah, they funded One Punch Man season 3, something that nobody else wanted to do for 6 years. They did it, gave it to JC Staff. JC Staff then botched the entire production, and now it's Bandai Namco's fault. So I guarantee you, by the way, if they actually let me get to the point, release the financials from this, I guarantee you Bandai Namco gave them as much money as season 2, if not more money. And season 2 of One Punch Man, by the way, was more funded than season 1. Season 1 was like a passion project by a lot of freelancers that really liked the source material and wanted to do a really good job. So a lot of them worked like overtime, worked a lot of extra hours to make the production extra special, right? And then season 2 was a drastic step down. Now, in hindsight, I think we were too harsh on season 2. There's definitely some really bad scenes. I still think the Garo Metal Bat fight was fucking horrendous, like super bad. But some of the Garo fights, like later on, like especially towards the end of the series, that were handled by like a more well-known artist at the time, animator at the time, were very clean. Now, granted, all the fucking clips that people are sharing, they're the Blu-ray version, by the way. Like, if you look at the actual original TV release, it's fucking horrendous. Like, there's no post-production at all. It looks like shit. The Blu-ray release actually looks fine because obviously it's a Blu-ray release. A lot of these people don't fucking understand that a lot of these things are touched up and redone in Blu-ray releases. Like, it's just like, they don't even know that, right? Which is mind-blowing to me. So a lot of time people go back and share like, well, maybe we were too harsh on this show. It's like, yeah, you're sharing a fucking touched up, re-released version of what we got originally. So like, shut the fuck up, okay? And then, by the way, Bandai Namco has been working on Wand and Sword. One of the most like hyped, beautiful, one of the most beautiful animations in like the last like 5 years. Like it's in like the top 5 of like top animations in the last 5 years. Bandai Namco like published and worked on. So and they, by the way, it's not just big name projects. Momentary Lily, Bandai Namco paid for that. Momentary Lily is by a studio that's like, you hate them or you love them. They have a very unique vision and design style. That is a massive risk to take. So Bandai Namco is one of the few publishers that has a lot of weight and money that will actually take risks, right? The only reason why you get some of these amazing hidden series out there is because of companies like Bandai Namco who take risks, right? They can afford to take the risks, so they sprinkle out a little bit. Like, you know what, Momentary Lily, we'll give your studio a little sprinkle of money here. Just let me see what you got, right? Do all these pan out? No, absolutely not. Sometimes they lose money. I guarantee you they lost money on probably like half of this that they sponsored this year alone, right? This is just 2024. They probably lost like money on half of these, but they still did it. So to hate on Bandai Namco and to harass them and to go after them, you are got to be some of the dumbest motherfuckers on the planet. Do you really think that this is some kind of like fucking evil overlord company? Like, what kind of fucking delusion? Like, I would love to like just hear your politics, right? Because your politics probably boils down to like, you think the Jews control everything in the world and you're just a fucking retard. Like, I really have to talk to some of these people and just see like, what's your political worldview look like? Because you really think in producing these things, you really think like fucking Bandai Namco went in and like put a gun to JC Staff's head and be like, make this project shit or I'm gonna fucking blow your brains out? You really think that's what they did? Like, are you fucking that retarded? Are you that retarded? Like, when another company approaches my company and gives us a job to do, it says, hey, this is what we need, right? generally there's a fucking discussion that happens. This wasn't like Bandai Namco forced JC staff to do this. It's the same thing when Mappa took over AOT, right? Everybody knew there was like going to be timeline issues, that this was going to be a crunch, and that like it was a lot of work to get done very quickly. Mappa accepted the fucking job. Okay, they accepted it, right? And the director for I'll always give him a shout out, because like, was that first season of like AOT final season good? No, it was fucking terrible. But he was aware it was terrible, and then he apologized for it. And he profusely stated that it will get better. He explained the situation. It is what it is. It's not that guy's fault, right? The upper echelon of Mappa decided to take on a series that they did not have the staffing to handle, right? In a very short notice, right? There's the same thing with JC staff, right? JC staff are working on like 3 different projects this season, which, by the way, blow One Punch Man away in terms of animation quality, because JC staff does actually have a few, like probably like 5 or 6 actually really like top notch like on staff animators, especially for action sequences. So they are capable of producing good things. It's not like the studio's like just junk. I mean, they do produce a lot of mediocre shit a lot of the time. But that's because that's the only work they can get. Like they even though they've been around forever, and their staffing has drastically changed over the years. They used to have like some of the best animators in the business during like the mid 2000s, probably like 2006. I would say 2006, maybe like 2012 was like JC Staff's. 2014 was probably JC Staff's like heyday, when they were really good. They had like Toradora and all these other shit that they made. But like traditionally, nowadays, like JC Staff kind of produces slop, and they've always had. I mean, Dan Maki's been slop for years. They still have some of these, like people like some of these production studios companies still go to them for some of these franchises, which is a mistake, right? So in Bandai Namco's worldview, it's like, hey, let's take a gamble again on like season 2 had such bad, like people don't understand this, like One Punch Man is such a big franchise. Yes, it is. Even normies know One Punch Man. I asked a guy at work who doesn't watch anime if he knew what One Punch Man was, and he knew exactly what it was, right? It is huge. But when you have season 2, which by all means wasn't that terrible, but it was such a step down that the public outcry was that this is shit, right? You're Bandai Namco, you just saw like a huge loss in profit from this franchise. Okay, well, let's shelve it for a while. All right, well, let's bring it back now. We think it's been enough time. People have kind of forgotten about season 2. Now's a good time to bring it back. There's a lot of opening in the market for this. Like, there's not a lot of big shonens airing right now, by the way. This is actually like the perfect time to air like a big shonen project. That's like, because like nothing's airing right now, right? Like One Piece is going on break. Like One Piece is still going. One Piece is always going to be going, but like it is kind of going on break soon. It is like it's a winding down, right? There's no Jujutsu Kaisen yet. There's nothing huge is airing right now. So this is like the perfect time block. If you're a company, they're like, fuck, dude, we got to take advantage of this. This is the perfect time to release a season 3 of One Punch Man. It'll be the only big like shonen action series in the market at that time. It's going to sell really big. People have been waiting for this. People will get excited. They've forgotten about season 2 at this point already, which they did. And we'll give it to JC Staff again because they did an okay job on season 2. And season 2 was kind of like, was that last minute? I could have swore there were production issues with season 2, but I think there was like during COVID, right? So wasn't there production issues with that? I can't remember. I remember there were some issues with it. So like JC Staff actually did a pretty good job despite like a situation going on. So Bandai Namco's like, hey, it's a safe bet with them. They've done it before. They can do it again. So they go to JC Staff. Hey, JC Staff, we wanted to do this again. Here's the budget. This is what it's going to cost. This is the timeline. This is the time frame you need to make it in. Can you do it? JC Staff's like, yeah, sure, of course we can. You know, management of JC Staff was like, yes, we can do this. Then they proceed to have no staff available to do the project because they're already working on 3 other fucking projects. It's just corporate greed from the animation studios. And it always is. It literally always is, right? Mappa did the same thing. Why are all these animators at Mappa burnt out? Why did a bunch of them quit? Now some of them are coming back, obviously. Like, why did Mappa have like a huge spike in popularity, and they were fucking producing bangers for like 2 years, and then it just kind of fizzled out a little bit? It's because the management overtook too many projects. They promised too many things, right? Now, if you're generally when I'm at work and if my company agrees to something and then we produce garbage or we fuck up whatever the person wants us to do, generally we don't get paid. Some of us probably get fired. But apparently we're just supposed to bow down and worship animators like they're gods and not regular people. By the way, animation in Japan is pretty much like most of these guys. How do I break this down? So in a big studio, a big company like JC Staff, some of these guys they're animating like tiny little parts of like a whole picture, right? So everybody animates little tiny sections and then it all comes together. Then you have people who have to composite the whole thing. You have people who have to add all the post-production to it. The post-production in One Punch Man Season 3 is fucking non-existent, by the way. It's absolutely horrendous. Like the compositing and everything is fucking horrible. That's why it looks so weird. It looks so awkward. The same thing happened with Berserk. Like when that came out, the compositing shit was terrible. So it's like a lot of these animators are minimum wage. Like animation jobs in Japan are minimum wage jobs because a lot of it is small touch-ups. It's like small little pieces of the puzzle. These guys are not animating fucking a 10-minute Sakuga scene. And even then, the dudes who do that, they get paid the big bucks, and those people usually have their own staff that work under them directly, right? So like it's not like in the West where everybody is way overpaid for shit that they produce. So it's like these are minimum wage fucking workers going on Twitter trying to gaslight you into being like, don't be mean to us, guys. We're trying our best. They're not trying their best. Like they're not. Trying your best is One Punch Man Season 1, right? Another disaster project that had really bad funding, but everybody on board the project wanted to produce something good, took pride in their work, and actually produced something good, right? And now there's examples of this season too. I can't remember the top of my head, but there's a couple of good shows this season that are going above and beyond. I mean, even My Hero Academia this season, right? Like Bones is going above and beyond like anything they've ever done before to make the final season good. That is a choice by them. They could have just released the same kind of slop they've been releasing for the last fucking 5 years with My Hero, and then that just called it a day. I mean, they're not going to make money off this final season. Like the market value of My Hero has already been made. Like it's done. Like the manga's over. People forget that animation is literally just advertisement for the source material. It's literally always what it is, unless it's an original animation project, which are very few and far between nowadays. Like almost nobody does it. There's only like really one studio that ever takes like risks to make their own like fucking original animation stuff. Which is God, what is the studio? My brain. I'm trying to explain too much stuff too fast, but this shit really bothers me. No, not a fucking production IG. PA Works. Yeah, PA Works. So PA Works notoriously always takes a lot of risks to make like their own original works. Some of them are good, some of them are fucking horrible, like that fairy something they made where it's like fucking steampunk fairy shit. Like yeah, that show was terrible. I tried to watch it. It was just horrible. But yeah, PA Works is somebody who does that. And not all the studios do that, most of them don't. I mean, there's just no excuse in 2024, 2025, with all the modern animation techniques, with the advent of AI. All of these companies use AI, by the way. I don't know why people are so fucking delusional. And if you've never used AI before, you're a moron. It's not as easy as you think it is. It requires a whole different skill set. You have to be basically a poet. You have to be capable of creatively describing every scene to minute details to the algorithm to get for the prompt to give you what you want. It is not an easy thing to do. You do need a creative mindset and you need to have a vision of what you want for it to even happen. It's not just type in to Grok, oh, make me Mobile Suit Gundam fight. Haha. Like Grok doesn't know what the fuck that is. Like you have to be like, you literally have to be an author. You have to be like, here is a 96-foot tall robot, metal armor, a big laser beam. Like you have to describe everything in detail. Okay. And the better you are at describing the details and explaining, like you have to explain the camera work, right? Grok doesn't do camera work. You have to be like, Grok, I want a panning camera here that zooms in here with a little bit of shaky effect. Add like a post filter like an ad, like put a filter on like post production, and like you have to tell it to do all these things. Okay, if you never played with it, you wouldn't know that, and most of you haven't. You just assume things that you've never even done before. So a lot of these studios use AI. They use AI tools. Like they just do. Like there's no way they don't. Like there's no way they produce these things at the speed they do without digital AI assets and tools. Now is like that, are they using AI to just literally animate things? No, but they'll use AI to, fill in backgrounds, to make corrections, maybe like assist with like adding camera effects or like speed lines or like things like this. Like of course they do. Like why wouldn't they? Like Hollywood uses it. Like they all use these tools. You think they're like, what do you think? Like they just don't use like these insanely powerful tools that make their lives easier and allow them to produce things faster? Of course they do. You fucking apes, dude. Like how dumb are you, man? I just don't get it. But yeah, just this whole like Bandai Namco boycott is fucking retarded. Let's not boycott like one of the largest, if not the largest, animation producer on the planet, who is literally the only reason that we have most of like the top tier like shonen that we've had in like the last 20 years. Like they're the ones taking the gamble on these and losing money on most of them because it is a loss half the time. Ultimately, anime to this day, even now, unfortunately, animation is literally just a means to advertise for the source material. That's how it's always been. That's how it's going to continue to be until, manga starts to die off a little bit. Maybe it could happen. It is sort of happening. But it's like, I also don't want that. I like manga. I think it should stay and people should read. But I also just like, not everybody's going to put a lot of effort into an animation. Like, so I don't know. So for me, JC Staff just saw that like One Punch Man season 3 was not going to be. They probably thought internally that like season 2 was like such backlash that like, hey, we'll just phone it in for season 3. They basically just took the money and ran. That's literally what they did. They pocketed the money. It probably got the same funding as season 2, if not more. And then they just kind of pocketed the money and then focused on their other projects for this season, right? Because Bandai Namco probably ultimately doesn't care too much. Like they are probably expecting a loss. Maybe they do care. I wouldn't be surprised if like they're pressuring JC Staff at the moment, because JC Staff now is like hiring a bunch of freelancers, including a lot of like Chinese freelancers, and they even changed the director like last minute. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if Bandai Namco is pressuring the fuck out of them. Like, what the fuck are you guys doing? So ultimately, the blame for everything happening lies with JC Staff. It's not Bandai Namco. It's not an individual director or artist on JC Staff. It's the company as a whole. It is the management of the company who accepted the project, including, the people who were responsible for setting up the project inside JC Staff. Like, hey, these are the people who are going to work on this. This is the project. This is what you're going to do. Whoever decided to set it up the way they did should be fired immediately. They should not work in this industry. They're an idiot. JC Staff has pocketed basically the money from One Punch Man season 3, produced slop, and now because they're getting pressured not only from criticism from the fans, but also probably from Bandai Namco themselves, who are probably super pissed at them, are now being pressured to last minute throw on big name freelancers to help save the project last minute. It's already too late, by the way. We're on episode fucking 9. You can't save the project at this point. Like you've already completely destroyed it. So even if you do somehow release a couple good episodes at the end here, by like just going out of the way to fucking last minute hire all these freelancers and Chinese staff to come in and help, like it's already too late, right? So let's just get this straight, right? Just want to clear the air with these people. When a animation studio fucks up, it's on the animation studio, right? We don't look at like terrible cuts and images from like early Naruto and be like, yeah, it's not Studio Pierrot's fault at all, or it's Bandai Namco's. No, it's Studio Clown, right? No, Studio Clown didn't work on Naruto. Am I fucking losing my mind here, by the way? Sorry, I'm trying to like remember and go through certain things. Who animated Naruto? It's Pierrot. Yeah, okay. I'm not retarded. Okay, thank you. So early studio, like Studio Pierrot is known for inconsistency, by the way. Black Clover is like a perfect example. That project was handled so poorly by them, it's not even funny. And that is not any publisher's fault. That is Studio Pierrot's fault, right? Studio Pierrot takes on way too many things, right? Um, way too many things, right? Way too many things. Well, even right here, right? Because Bandai Namco was involved in Naruto. Bandai Namco and its predecessors like Bandai Visual was one of the main publishers and licensors for the home video release of merchandise and games, but did not animate the series. They were not involved in distribution and co-financing through the TV Tokyo Anime Committee. There's why sometimes see their logo. They were involved, so they were one of the ones who financed Naruto. Okay, so do you think they said like you better release this and you better make it shit? Like, of course not. They want to make money, you fucking idiots, bro. It's so insane to me that people think Bandai Namco purposely wanted One Punch Man to be shit. Like they held a gun to J. It's not JC Staff's fault at all. It's all Bandai Namco. They're an evil overlord that controls these evil publishers control the anime industry, bro. These guys are partners, right? Like the entire structure of Japanese anime is like it's all partnered, right? TV Tokyo is a partner. Shueisha will be a partner. Bandai Namco will be a partner, and they'll take different roles, right? So Bandai Namco might work on like the games and the merchandise and like the overseas Blu-ray stuff like they did with Naruto. TV Tokyo will be responsible for airing the main broadcast and paying for that and inserting advertisements in that, right? Like, you guys are just so fucking retarded, and you're being gaslit by other retards who just like don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. And then again, and then on the other side, you have the ultimate retards who are some of like the bigger anime YouTubers who also don't know what the fuck they're talking about and just can't use their brain for a second. And then everybody wants to play like this like moral high ground PC police kind of thing where like nobody wants to just blame people for doing a bad job. Like you can blame them for doing a bad job, that's fine. Like, you shouldn't be telling them to go fucking kill themselves or anything like that. But you can be like, yo, you guys did a fucking shit job, honestly. Like, you did, like, this is embarrassing. And you should be ashamed. And they should. And they should get fired, too, by the way. Because if this was you at your job and you were given a big project and then you fucking flubbed the project this heavily, and, like, you would be fired. I'd be fired. I'd fire you. Like, so, yeah, they should be fired. JC Staff should apologize. JC Staff should probably pay for this and pay reparations for it. I mean, if this loses a ton of money, which I just assume this is going to lose insane money, like Bandai Namco is going to make fucking nothing off of this. Like everybody's fucked. They should pay reparations for that. And if that means the studio has to like cut jobs and restructure, well, guess what? That's what they have to do because Toei had to do it. And a lot of studios are closing down, by the way. So if you guys think this is just the publishers and producers, like you're just fucking delusional. Like, why do you think, man, early 2000s, there were fucking anime studios opening and closing 24/7 just all the time because these guys would take on projects that were so fucking stupid. This guy would break off from Bones to go do his own project and make his own studio to produce some anime that it was in his vision, and the thing was shit. And then they lost a bunch of money. Then they closed the studio. Then they go work in here, and some of them become freelancers. This was like the fucking Wild West back then. And then now we're seeing another resurgence of that, where studios are getting too big. They're getting way too big. They're kind of imploding on themselves. They have too many internal management structure issues. They don't have enough good staff to put on the fucking 10 projects a year they're taking on. And they're collapsing. Like, I think 9 announced shutdowns. 9 different studios announced shutdowns this year alone. So it's like, this is normal. This is how it's always been. It's always been a clusterfuck industry. Animation studios have always been clusterfucks. They take on more projects than they should, and then they fall apart. It just is what it is, and that's why they can never hold. And then, like, if you're good and you're good in this industry, you're a freelancer. There's very few, like, top animation guys who are locked down in a studio. So unless that studio is giving them a lot of kickbacks and putting a lot of money into them, they can't hold on to these people because these people don't have to work for them. Somebody else will pay them a shit ton of money just to come in, work on an episode or two, and then fuck off, right? We have a fight coming up. We need like crazy Sakuga. Like, you're the Sakuga guy. Come in, work on it for like 2 episodes, and then fuck off. We'll pay you like $1 million. Like, not $1 million. They don't get paid that much, but I mean that's pretty much how it works, right? What's that guy's name? Like Vincent Charizard or whatever the fuck. I always call him Charizard. Like he's freelancer. I'm pretty sure he's not officially licensed to any studio. Maybe he is. As far as I'm aware, he's a freelancer because he just worked on My Hero. He was working on One Piece. Now he's working over here. Like there's no way he's like maybe they loan him out or something, but that's pretty much how it works. This has always been the Wild West. Like anime studios just like come and go because they always handle their businesses terribly. One of the only animation studios that ever like the only animation studio, like very few of them. So Mappa is run fairly competently. They had like a little bit where they got like too big and like too big for their own bridges and they started doing some really dumb designs. But traditionally, Toei's run very well. Mappa's run very well. Bones is hit or miss. Hit or miss. But like Bandai Namco, Sunrise, like all of those companies, they've been around forever for a reason because they run their companies. They understand, right? They make good projects, okay? And then, Kyo Annie was like the pinnacle. Like Kyo Annie was the success story and the blueprint for everybody to follow. And unfortunately, they had the arson attack, and like I just don't think Kyo Annie's ever really fully recovered. But I mean, you could just see the fucking beauty that oozes out of like Kyo Annie's early work, and it's just like everybody should have looked to them and modeled after them, but like obviously they don't. So it is what it is. But yeah, that's just my rant on this. Like this is retarded. This is just retarded, guys. It's not Bandai Namco's fault. Now, if it got revealed that they undersold, like they gave them no money, we could still argue, right? Then it's like, okay, then we'll argue back and forth about this. But ultimately, you still want to release a good product, and like the One Punch Man season 3 episodes, they're literally unfinished. Like one of the freelancers who worked on one of the episodes literally criticized them and said, "Yo, this is super unfinished. You did a really bad job showing the animation that I sent you guys in. Like you didn't do any post-production at all." Which they're not. They're literally not doing any post-production. It's terrible. There's no compositing. It looks terrible. Nothing looks right. It all looks off. Because they're not. So it's like, okay, whose fault is it? Is it the people working on the project or the people who funded the project? Because I guarantee you, like, at least not until now, like, I'm sure there's a gun to their head now from Bandai Namco, like, hey, you need to fucking fix this. But there definitely wasn't when they started. They probably gave them a time frame, said, here's your budget, make it work. And then everything went downhill from there. So that's how it's always been. Ultimately, these things always come back to the animation studio themselves. Now, is it, like I said, is it individual animators? Who knows? I mean, I can't imagine the staff working on this season is very good. It's got to be like their fucking D team of misfits that got thrown together to try to make this work. I mean, there's definitely good stuff there. The problem is like everything's kind of being slapped together, and a lot of this is the director's fault, by the way. Like that director is responsible for a lot of this because he's the one who kind of organizes how this is all being done in the first place and kind of puts together the final vision. Like just storyboarding issues, there's pacing issues, and all that comes back to the director. So ultimately, like yeah, these guys just did a shit job. Now, instead of just apologizing and being like, hey guys, we did a bad job, like honestly, it's our fault. They want to make excuses. They want to gaslight. Because if you don't know, by the way, like a big problem in Japan, and one of the reasons why the current prime minister was elected in the first place, is because a lot of Western woke bullshit has been infesting the country for like the last like 10 years. We've been pretty much like injecting our like fucking woke politics into Japan and trying to like pretty much turn Japan into South Korea, which by the way, it's not going very well for South Korea. So the recent election in Japan was pretty much a refusal to bow down to like woke culture and like the woke injection of woke politics and identity politics by the West into Japan. But a lot of these studios are infested with those types, right? They're just, it is what it is. They're infested with a lot of these types that have already been brain rotted by this shit. Especially in animation, like it's really bad. So that's why you get a lot of excuse making, they all make themselves victims. They don't take any responsibility. Everybody's toxic. Like oh, you're not real fans. You watch everything illegally and you pirate everything. And it's like, okay, whatever. Sure. Because you're getting roasted at home as well by Japanese people. So like, I don't understand what kind of logic that argument is, but sure. So yeah, if you listen to this rant and ramble, I'm just gonna cut it here. Thank you. Um, the TLDR once again is that Bandai Namco is a publisher. Now they do animate their own series. It's usually mostly Gundam, because they are a subsidiary of Sunrise, so they all kind of work together. They do have their own animation staff. They produce good animation. Never really have a problem with anything they make. And then they publish hundreds of shows, if not thousands. A lot of these shows would not even exist if it wasn't for them taking risks on them. Um, and I do not think that Bandai Namco deserves to be the focus of the hatred because JC Staff decided to mishandle a project at an astronomically just glorious level that they've done. So the blame is JC Staff's. Blame JC Staff, blame the management at JC Staff. You can definitely blame the director. He was definitely a terrible director. A lot of the issues with the anime could have been overlooked if like at least like basic directional things were on point, which they're not at all. Just like in the terms of like how audio is being used, how the storyboarding's been done. All of these things are just terrible. Like the show itself is just dragging out because they extended things that made no sense to extend from the manga. Like this season should have been nothing but fight scenes, basically from episode 2 onwards. All of the early meeting shit could have been summed up in one episode, and they badly paced the whole show. So a lot of it falls on the director. It does. Like he wants to gaslight and pretend like he's a victim all he wants, but like he knows he did a shit job. Now it's also the responsibility of the manager at JC Staff who put this guy in fucking charge of this project, knowing he probably couldn't do it. And then, yeah, so basically they just need to apologize. Just fucking apologize. Say you're sorry. The guy who did Berserk and fucked that up apologized. The guy who did the first season of the MAPPA AOT apologized, and we all forgave them and moved on, right? And eventually not Berserk, but eventually AOT got good, right? So that's the TLDR. So feel free to argue with me in the comments.